everybody, welcome to another episode of the Unturned Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Charles, and we're joined once again by Trading Games.
Hello.
Stas Wally.
Huh?
De Leono. Flodo.
We bullied the kid.
And we're joined by Kel Cat today as our special guest. What?
What?
Okay, now a little bit for context for the rest of this episode is that an hour before we were supposed to record an hour ago, but some kid told me that I was stupid and silly. So 6 people ruined his day by getting rid of his helicopter, stealing his helicopter, and now it belongs to us. So
I'm one of those people.
And we flipped his base upside down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything about him is ruined. So that guy just doesn't exist anymore. So we were supposed to record an hour ago, and we all collectively stopped and ruined this kid's day.
You know, we had to do it to him.
We had to. He was annoying. He was racist. Like
Those
it
are the
was
values. He was Polish, yeah.
He
Like
didn't even have good cosmetics, so like.
Yeah, it was just as well served.
Basically, everyone can be racist under like some circumstance.
Maybe the real racism was the friends who made a lot.
Like Kel Cat, for an example.
What's up?
Now so if you had to be like really racist for a day, like what would you want like in return?
What is this? What is this
like,
question?
what do I want? As in, like can it be
like compensation. Yeah.
Oh well, let's see. I think I'd want like Chick-fil-A because Chick-fil-A is kind of homophobic, so it goes hand in hand.
Oh my God.
Okay, I fuck with that.
What? Okay, let's actually start the questioning now.
That was the question. Yeah.
That was
okay,
not a
good.
good question, Janet. That was not
Yeah,
a good
no,
question.
I have a question. The first question is, how many of those homemade chargers do you need to blow up a wooden wall on average?
I think 5
4?
3, I think.
All right.
Just place one at a time.
varied answers.
I don't
No.
remember.
Vicky was asking it, that's why I'm
I'm
asking.
pretty sure it's 4 because I remember or I could be thinking about like a vault or something.
Wait,
Anyway.
I have a question.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
sure,
start the questioning because you all
Yeah.
we're not like to deviate so heavily. We're talking about Arid, so sus.
I
So
mean,
Kel
it's
Cat.
one of the best maps.
So Kel Cat, when did you start playing Unturned?
Unturned, my good old friend, I started playing during 2.0 when sledgehammers existed and lever action shotguns ruled the West.
Oh damn.
Ooh.
So you did you jump ship onto 3.0 once it came out on Steam, or did you?
I was a little hesitant at first because I knew 2.0 and I was like 3.0 looks a little barren, so I waited a little bit, and then eventually I would say around the time that I'm trying to think of what update was out, but it's not coming to me. But eventually I played it and I was like, oh, this is awesome. It's
So it's more like a gradual, like you had to
yeah.
go ahead and see it.
2.0 had a lot of stuff on it, and I was like, I like this, I must stay. And then 3.0 got stuff, and eventually got the Grizzly. And I was like, you know what?
That was your jump off.
I kind of like 50 cows.
That was a jump off the Grizzly, was it?
Yeah.
Did you learn every single like recipe in Unturned 2.0 just to exist?
In 2.0, no, but in 3.0, I know all the base ones.
Okay.
Oh my.
Okay.
Well, it's all just like wood or like metal.
Mhm.
So I mean, like it's not that. I'm just saying.
I'm a little bit of a pro. Back on.
What about the spot? Okay, tell me about the spotlight. What do you know?
The
what's the recipe
spotlight,
for that?
it's okay, from the top of my head, it's 2 wire and 3 metal bars.
I think that's
That sounds
correct.
about
Nice
right.
job. Yeah, close enough.
I'll take mate.
And I forget.
None of
Does the
us know
lamp? Does the lamp take a cage light to make?
Nah.
Am I stupid? Okay. Am I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
stupid,
Bruh. Would you say that currently 3.0 is fun? More fun than 2.0?
Current 3.0 is it's pretty much just Unturned 2, but in every better way, especially when it comes to the modding scene.
Mm-hmm.
As that's kind of what drives Unturned now, if you ask me. Besides Nelson kind of having a re-enter bit is like, he came back, he was interested again. He kind of scaled his ambitions down, but he wanted to fix what he made, which is really respectable.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of what Unturned 3.0 is to me now is people who just get together and make a large mod of like, you get a map, custom weapons, music, promotion, and then it's just like, you get like 4 solid months of just non-stop of this good map coming out.
Oh yeah.
I see.
Good example is
Mhm.
Arid. I think Arid is actually what revitalized my entire like love for Unturned again, because I had stopped playing for like a year or 2, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had ended up playing like 1,000 hours, 1,800 at most, and I was just like, okay, that's enough.
So, did you play during Elver at the Elver
I
craze?
did actually.
What do you think of like that big jump from? I can't remember the last curated map that was released before that.
Ireland.
Ireland?
Yeah.
Okay, Ireland. What do you think of
Yeah.
that big jump from Ireland to Elver?
I remember I wasn't playing Unturned when it came out, but like the day after, Ender actually came to me. He was like, "Yo, you gotta check this map out," and I was like, "Okay, just because it's small, it looks interesting." And I remember the first thing that like captivated me was I went into the mall and I saw the big ass crystal, and I was like, "Wow, we've never had a building that looked like this before," and it was
I-
so like filled out and dynamic, and I like the crafting a lot. It's component shit.
Yeah, it's a lot more. It's a lot
Yeah,
more
it's
interesting.
It's
They
not just like
changed.
go to the military and just farm it for an hour or two with a horde beacon, and then it's like, oh, you got the detonator. Congrats.
Yeah, they changed up like the base, like things that
Yeah.
you use in game instead of changing one aspect of it, which I think completely changes the entirety of gameplay as a whole.
The only thing I will not forgive Elder for is the fishing grind.
I fucking hate the hypertech fish.
It
I
started
think
a
that's
whole
All my
like the
homies
subculture.
hate
only
the hypertech fish.
one aspect of Elver that everyone just can agree on that
It-
sucks.
It would be different if you could kind of have a system where it's like, oh, you caught a certain amount of fish. Well, here's a guaranteed hyperfish.
Yeah, something
But
like
it's
that.
like I've literally spent like a full day trying to get a hyperfish and just did not get it.
Should be done with quests.
Evil, bro.
It's funny because I think Elver really started the subculture of fishing
Mhm.
in unturned communities.
Yeah.
Because there's always somebody that's going to be like, I love fishing, which is like asinine to me. But what makes sense because in Rust, there's people that love fishing too. So it's like
Yeah.
if there's fishing and it gets some sort of benefit, there's gonna be people that sit there for hours and just like keep casting, which is kind of funny. But at the same time,
Demon Fury,
interesting.
fish want me.
I think it's oh god.
Yeah.
Aw.
Okay.
I spent I spent like 6 or 7 hours fishing on Kuwait.
That's
Yeah, it was like on my SMP, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's like everyone was
He has to brag about it. He has to brag about
I had
it.
to. I had to.
dream.
Yeah, it was my SMP. I'm no, I'm not saying that. He's in hot water right now, so I can't say that. No, but yeah, on the whole concept of like Unturned, what needs to be better or like what needs to be fixed. What do you think should be added to Unturned in its current the current base game right now should be added that could improve
So-
this game heavily? What do you think?
I had a really good talk about this with, I want to say it was either NSTM or Doug. It was one of them. And what I had said was that, like, if the clothing got changed, like an overhaul for, say, where you had more slots, I think they should kind of go with, like, a 7 Days to Die or, like, a Rust kind of vibe. And have it so where there's tiers of, like, gloves, boots, and different, like, you can put
Mhm.
effects on clothes now. Like, a great example is, military gloves, better shooting, parkour gloves, shit like that increases your stamina, and overall you can become more like class based per se. So
Mhm.
teams can actually they can like incentivize, like, for example, I like to craft and I usually carry ammo for everyone. So I would obviously carry a bigger backpack and maybe shoes that let me run to people faster. But people who snipe are probably going to take like stealthy boots.
Wow.
So I think letting people be more individualized and kind of changing up shit. Like a great example of it, which again, I'm like kiss Renax on the lips for this one. On California, you would find a vest, but you didn't have like the little pockets on it. You had to find those.
Oh
And
yeah, I
I-
remember that.
That was
Yep.
such a good idea because like it incentivized you to keep searching, but also you could kind of be like, oh, well, I'm going to keep the lower tier one because I run faster with it. Or you can have someone else who's a loot whore and is like, I need more AK mags, and he just
I mean-
stuffs them in his pockets.
Mhm.
That's kind of on Arid too. With you've got those
Yeah.
recon vests and you've got the heavy vests.
There's
Yeah.
a photo, and it's like you can always see that I wear like the heaviest helmet and like the heaviest vest, but I keep the lightest clothing.
Uh-huh.
And it's because I just do a lot of like DMR stuff, so I protect myself against headshots.
Yeah.
It would be
And
most
So
It would be
What?
most interesting if, like, you could, for example, because a lot of people are complaining about the, what's it called? I even forgot what it's called. The skills system, right?
Oh yeah,
So what if you could somehow tie that to the clothes you're wearing? So for example, if you're wearing, like you brought up, like some sniper people, for example, you could have some like ghillie suit that would give you I don't know, diving, for example, so you can hold your breath longer and stuff like that.
Yeah. And a great step towards that, I think, is the fact that, if I'm correct, there was some mention of wanting to kind of overhaul the system entirely. I'm not sure if that was true or not by Nelson, but I remember someone mentioning it passively. And all I hope for is that he kind of rewrites clothing so we can put more stats on them. Like how I think it's Elver, night vision also gives you oxygen too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just small things like that, and not just having like, the only example I can think of is that we have the fire suit, which is just fire immunity. But just trying to hit more grander targets, faster reloading, more running, less noise. Maybe even like chance things, like 5% chance to get more scrap and salvaging.
To the two people who are listening right now, firefighter, if you know, you know. But anyway, I want to go back on this idea of like stats for clothing, because Nelson did want this for 4.0, and we all know what's happening with 4.0. Understandable, right? But currently, I see that we could probably do that. I mean, we're seeing stats being changed when it comes to movement. I don't see what else. I mean, I don't see why not we have more stats that we can do with clothing. And this is one specific thing I would say that I really want to be added to Unturned. I believe the model already exists. Nelson, where's the watch? The watch slot? I'm still waiting. You showed it in 4. I'm still waiting for the watch slot, along with the shoulder shot slot for like animals, like pets,
Ooh.
like parrots. I'm still waiting on that. I'm kidding. But
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, because
But, yeah.
I really hate the idea that you can have a vest on, but you can't wear like a shoulder piece, like of like a parrot or like an animal or like a snake.
Yeah, or
Right.
even some maps could go further with it and just maybe have like, I don't know, like an extra shoulder bag you can have, or a little piece of armor that gives you extra like bonus, stuff like that.
Yeah, there's like more slots for your character, but like it doesn't really exist because Among Us. I don't know. It's just dated. The system is just very dated. I would say this also goes into an idea. I don't know if anybody really thought of this, but I think something that Unturned really kind of needs, and that every map has done it already, and it's like living Unturned base game is living in the Stone Ages compared to its curated content, which is kind of sus. Because there's actually a listing of what actual items do. So like in the food, and like I believe Elver, you can actually look at how much the food will give you, like either with food or water. But in Unturned, you just have to kind of guess how much you're gonna take for food, which is not necessarily a problem. But it is annoying when you don't really know the exact, and maybe if you want to know exact numbers, you can be like, all right, I'm at 35. I'm at 35 hunger. If I eat this MRE, I'll get full food and water. So you can just be such a nerd about it. About food and stuff.
You can just go to the wiki now, but like Elver
Yeah, but
just
who's
cut
gonna do that?
Yeah, exactly. Elver just makes it much simpler. Just
Elver
like
had a standardized system, and I think every map since then has followed that, which is a good step because it helps casuals.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think so. Arid doesn't have it.
Arid doesn't have it. I thought it did.
No, it does not.
Does it have weapon damage? I'm thinking about weapon damage.
It has weapon damage. It has weapon damage,
That's what
but
I'm
it does
thinking
not.
of. That's what I'm
like,
thinking of.
It has weapon damage, and I know that the stems that you use like will show you how much radiation it'll take away.
I know that the food does not. The food doesn't show how much that will give you, but yeah, weapon damage is probably the most important stat.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
because,
stuff like that.
Like when you eat food, it'll give me some food. It's not really that important how much, right? But if you're shooting a gun, it's kind of important how much damage it deals, right?
I think Arid has a slower hunger rate anyway, so it's kind of like you have a lot more time to find something to eat.
But still, like,
also,
even that, it's not in the base game Unturned. Like, you don't see any of that. Fair. You kind of just have to guess and, like, pray. So, that's kind of sus. And that's what I'm saying, that Unturned's kind of in the dark ages when it comes to that.
I do think...
Yeah.
I don't know if any of you guys played Rainbow Six Siege at all, like, a while ago.
I did.
Yeah.
They had this update that was called, like, Operation Health, where it just went through and really polished the game down and tried to fix a lot of this stuff. And I think Unturned could use an update like that, where it's just all about making like the UI and stuff more player friendly.
Yeah.
I mean, Nelson's kind of slowly working on that right now.
Yeah, I'm not saying like hurry up, but
it's probably gonna. I mean, those things usually cause issues.
That's very fair.
With current stuff. The thing is, I imagine Nelson wants to negate the amount of issues, but I imagine he also wants to prioritize actually fixing the game. So I imagine that eventually there'll probably be like some sort of Unturned recession where
Recession.
everything kind of just breaks to shit. But that's
Doing
probably
it-
also the worst and best thing that will happen, because then
Doing it slowly is the best way because it lets modders go ahead and fix one issue rather than getting 100 and they all collide and over conflict.
Yeah, we
it's kinda
exactly we had the paradox last episode, and we talked about how Nelson just breaks all the plugins every update.
Oh yeah, you
I like
mentioned
that. Keep it up.
So, Kel Cat, you have nearly 500, nearly 600 hours in 7 Days to Die. What do
Oh.
you think? Like some additions from that game could be a very welcome change to Unturned.
Crafting stations.
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
So
Mhm.
I'm gonna point out a little fact for you about like Rust. You ever notice that most time people get killed is whenever they're running to the safe zone because they're trying to get scrap?
hmm
It's like, and you don't really need scrap if you don't have like, you know, a crafting station. And I think incentivizing this like constant you need to move out of your base so you're not constantly safe and going to the safe zone, it creates more proxy interactions and therefore creates more combat, more friendlies. Because then you have something to lose instead of just being like, oh, I can drop this scrap and this AK up 100. It's like, oh shit, I need this 200 scrap.
Yeah, for sure. And I think another cool thing would be probably a bit more in-depth progression to Unturned as well.
I think I know what you guys are talking about. I think here's a good thing, because I know you guys are asking for a completely new change to this, but there's already a system in place right now in Unturned that's not being used at all, which is very sad because it was only limited to one map. Let's talk
True.
about something that nobody fucking talks about anymore because this is like lost media now. But even though it's in the base game,
Yeah.
the blueprints. Unturned has blueprints that you can get
That
from
it
the
does.
Russian
Yes.
safe zone, and you can get the blueprints of like items that you can craft with, like the cake, like the cake that item that is useless.
Yeah,
But
the
still,
Steely Wheelie.
yeah, stuff
and
like
then-
that.
Yeah.
You got the
Like
fishing rod,
the quad
bayonet.
shotgun. Why don't
Because
we
then
get
you
an
can-
expansion upon all of that work, and then maybe get more
Mhm.
blueprints in the actual game so you can collect them, and not inherently make something new? Because I know there's a big problem with like adding new stuff. Like there's already existing stuff right now, Nelson, that you could expand upon, and it would be great. But it's just not being expanded upon. I don't know why, but it's there. It's not being expanded on.
Mhm.
Blueprints are a wonderful idea because they're a substitute for forcing someone to farm the same area 100 times.
But then
And I
it also... Oh, sorry.
Oh, good. No, go.
But the blueprints also depend on like how the map is oriented. Like for example, PEI, you can just rush military base and just get guns that already have been left behind by the military. But in a different map where there's like no like factory made weapons and you have to craft them yourself, then that's where the blueprints can come in handy because you can make your own, I guess, submachine gun. But first you need the blueprint. They have to go do all this stuff. So I think it's just you have to probably make a whole different design of a map to make the blueprint system work.
For sure. And I think another thing that Blueprint should be pushed for is, you ever notice the repair tree never gets used?
Wait, there's a repaired?
Yeah, in Unturned,
in
there's
Rust? Oh,
no,
wait.
in Unturned, there's the repair tree. It's what the engineering skill is used for.
Oh, yeah.
I really hope that people start using blueprints to make it so you get to repair weapons that way. So there's more of a reason to have blueprints and engineering as a whole.
Mhm.
It's just a small thing I've always had in the back of my mind.
Yeah. I think it could be cool.
What else should I ask about this? Because it is interesting. Because there is a bunch of mechanics in Unturned right now that are not really expanded upon. I'm trying to remember more, but it's really just kind of weird.
I mentioned quests. I mentioned there's probably more things that could probably be expanded upon there.
I think it's just limited right now because of coding. I think that's really
Maybe
it.
I never have delved into the into trying to create quest times or anything.
Yeah, I should probably preference this for like anyone who's listening. I am not a coder. All I do is texture work and I do art, and that's about it.
None of us know
artist.
what we're talking about when it comes to coding.
Yeah, I'm just like, you should add like a big sword and really cool zombies. It'd be awesome.
That's why I always
Shurikens.
defer back to the stuff that already exists in the game, like blueprints, because I'm like, that's a thing that we can do right now.
Yeah.
But it's just not being used.
Yeah.
Like, it's a cool idea, but again, it just needs to be fixed.
Because I think, that's probably not being used. Because I mean, people just like playing, high PvP maps. That's just the thing they like to do.
Yeah.
I mean, like people who want to, people who want to play some sort of survival oriented thing could go on like Arid or Elver, or if they want a PvP, they go into like Washington, or then there's Unturned. There's Rust Turned, which uses. I don't think it uses the blueprints, but I think it has like its own little system.
I haven't touched that since like it first came out.
I only went on when the jurors and Knight Rider would play, and Knight would always die at like the randomest pings. I told him that he's a bit sus.
Well,
But
I miss Knight.
I miss Knight Rider too. He's a bit sus. Yesterday I memed on him, and I think he blocked me. So we'll see what. So we'll see what that happens. No,
you
Knight Rider's a
say
good guy.
like he just exploded.
No, he's exploded now.
I'm gonna tell him that we're talking smack about him.
Yeah,
So he has
go
to
ahead.
watch the whole podcast.
You just
Yeah,
have to watch it all.
I'm pointing my big fat finger at him.
No, I don't know. When it comes to Unturned, it's just very strange when it comes to base game, because there is a lot of polishing that needs to be done as of right now, and I think I don't know, because they did it pretty easily. Like Arid and Elver did some changes that would be good for Unturned, and plus I'll never forget the quote of Nelson, what he said, that he's a programmer and not a game designer, and I think Renaxon and Dan do a good job at being the game designer part of the game.
I think even the idea of like having a bit of limitations can also lead to growth, because they have to find new ways to implement the changes they want. And I think it can definitely be, very welcome. Like the workbenches, Ren wanted to do that, but obviously you can't stand near something and craft. But I think
you can. That exists too.
Well, only the campfire.
Mm-hmm.
But for custom items, like you can craft basic stuff at a workbench, explosives at an explosive bench or whatever.
Yeah, ammo press, etc.
Yeah, and
like Terraria.
He kind of pseudo did
basically.
that. He kind of
he did. Basically, you just have to have the actual bench in your inventory, which is like, it's like a very simple concept, because the blowtorch, or the blowtorch already does that. Metal does that. Just like, taking an item and having it craft something different, and you need that item.
On Arid, it's effectively the same thing, because like the toolbox, like all those crafting items, they're really big, and you can place them down in your base. It's just
original.
It's basic. It's effectively that, but it would be just nicer if I don't need it to have them in my inventory. I can just stand right next to it, right?
And
but it's not like super bad where it's like it completely fails.
No,
Yeah.
it's effectively the same thing. It has the same function. It's just like
you just kind of have to hold down an extra button when you want to do something. Just pick it up and use it, put it back down.
you just have to do something that you wouldn't have to do otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. I would love to see the model of like an actual workbench, and maybe you have to make like a few separate ones for certain items, so there's more progression.
I believe there's people working on that right now, and I think they found some stuff already, but I'm not too sure, because all of that stuff is like behind like the scenes, so I don't really peer too much into it. But yeah, I think Rust Turned. I'm talking about Rust Turned. Is working on that, which is kind of interesting. We're seeing all that stuff slowly trickle out to the public. It's very interesting.
Oh, it's definitely possible, and probably even kind of done before to an extent, with plugins.
Mm-hmm.
But just having that in vanilla would be nice.
Yeah,
because I remember you can, like, with plugins you can do basically everything. I remember on what was the Uncrafted, for example, when you like build a forward operating base, you like need a truck nearby to do that. So it's kind of like that basically.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And I guess it would probably fall under the same system that like a claim flag uses, where it just creates like a sphere that you have to stand in.
Yeah, like a claim flag or a generator, or one of these.
I guess it'd be something that just needs to be looked at more, or just tweak slightly so where people are allowed to do such things.
It would even be cooler if you could like place something in your base, and that would affect like the area inside your base. Although that would be pretty clunky to code, I imagine, but it would be just cool if like placing an item would be an upgrade to your entire base, like placing a crafting station, for example.
Yeah, I get you.
So but that would I can imagine that would be pretty difficult to code in.
Oh yeah.
Well,
from my knowledge.
Yeah, on that front, yeah. I think Nelson tried to fix that with the building planner, but I mean, it's just a faster salvage.
He made a Fortnite.
It's just a faster salvage and like faster placing, which makes sense, but still, Like,
That's
Remember when
effectively
people
what
thought
it's
that
supposed
would make the game
It's a-
more
it's a
like
start.
Fortnite?
So
Mhm.
Anyways,
What happened, Flodo?
Remember when people thought that would make the game more like Fortnite?
I immediately
still-
said no. When I saw all that, I remember I said this on the podcast. When I saw the building planner be released, I saw the whole community was crying, and I'm like, bro, it's not gonna change anything. Trust, because you still have to carry hundreds of items on you to get anything done, and it's not like Fortnite where you have like one like slot you have to like worry about. No,
it doesn't change anything because the biggest PvP servers where it would realistically be used all banned the item.
well
like-
that too, but that's a different topic.
Freezer had it for an hour, and then there was a full server restart, and bam, it's gone, blacklisted.
It's funny because you say that because yeah, technically I think it's fair to get rid of it on creative servers because it lags servers heavily. I've been on servers with like 10,000 like piece count of like buildables, and like
Oh my
it
God.
will lag the server immensely. So I understand that. Like
I feel like Freezer could use the building planet if buildings had like a decay time.
like of like
or
Like
you
a
just
real
had a,
seconds,
or
yeah.
you had
Like
a,
a-
you had a limit on how many can you like one player can place, for example.
Maybe.
That'd be kind of cool.
an hour limit before everything breaks.
Real.
It's just instantaneous too. It's not like it slowly decays.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just Popped out of existence.
Or I mean, it could also slowly decay, similar to how like Panda Hut does it, where like if you place an item down, like it will slowly decay, but you can still heal it over time, which is also kind of interesting because I mean, at least it's not instant. So
I like a lot of the maps that have a faster decay rate. It adds a sense of urgency to actually getting a claim flag.
yeah,
It's like nice.
You know, kind of like the tool cupboard.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, similar to Tool Club Bird in Rust.
If you haven't noticed, I like Rust.
Yeah, Rust is a very interesting game, but I know a lot of people, man, want to make Unturned similar to Rust in the same sense of like crafting and stuff like that, which is really stupid. I think like the furnace stuff is sus that he
Yeah,
wrote as like a thing to add.
There's kind of like a quickness to Unturned that needs to stay to it. Like it's convenient to do things.
Yeah, it's
You
convenient and
don't have
casual.
to smelt. You don't have to smelt stuff. It's just click a button and you have a like raw stick of iron.
Exactly.
I feel like with the survival aspect of Unturned, I was gonna say this earlier. The entire like premise of a military base being there kind of ruins everything. I feel like because military is like leagues ahead of everything else. The fact that there is a military base where you can just go there and get good loot immediately completely ruins the survival aspect, because why would you spend time, building, crafting guns and stuff when you could just walk into a location, get a gun immediately?
But it's like there's no guns to craft. What do you to craft? The Hawkhound? The
Welcome.
fake Hawkhound?
What's up?
Welcome to the third episode of What Does the Word Survival Mean?
Yeah, no.
What-
I don't know. I
what
think the problem with that is just mainly like
What
there's not
does
enough
the word survival mean? I think to me, what the word survival means in a game is you have to scrounge up resources to scrape by, but not have enough where you're floating like freely and just kind of like. You'll notice a different change, and like if you play in turn, you spawn into a server and your friends like, oh yeah, we already have C4 rocket launchers, we have like all this metal, we literally can't be stopped, and it's like, I don't want to play anymore. But when it's like Rust and people are just beating you down constantly, and you finally get your first like little shack, and you're like, I can do this.
Mm-hmm. And even if
That's
continue.
survival.
even if you are on top of the world in Rust, you're still like a huge enemy.
Yeah, there's always someone who's ready to like take you down.
Mm-hmm.
I like that feeling. There's like this
Yeah.
constant like I have to look over my shoulder.
Yeah, especially a guy who spawns on a beach. Pretty much
Yeah.
every Rust YouTuber.
Hello guys, Stimpy here.
There's a bunch of people that spawn on the beach in Unturned. Very interesting. Very interesting.
I spawned on the beach.
That's Cap, surely. That's so
Yeah,
Cap.
the two people who know about spawning on the beach, you know.
They came from the rough part.
Spawning on
When
the
are we-
beach.
Yeah.
On the beach, do.
You guys are silly.
Anyway,
Well, to get back on the idea of like survival, I guess more so it's just like a challenge. Like kind of when you get to the top, it's kind of boring. It's kind of just like either retaining a position or like fighting like somebody else that's in your similar spot. But it's kind of lame. I think a lot of people like the scrounging of like getting shit together and then going and doing that work. That's why I don't make bases in Unturned. And usually when I play Unturned, I don't make bases. I play Unturned like a roguelike. I don't play Unturned like a survival game. I treat it as like I can have like a bow and arrow and kill the guy with like full military gear, get all the stuff, scrap it all, turn it into like splints, and then keep going.
That's kind of insane.
Yeah.
That's how I used to play Unturned a lot, and that's why I gravitated towards making glitch bases because like it was just like storage for like guns, so I can go run out more. In the past, and if anyone's seen those glitch bases, they're literally just storage.
You're just playing Tarkov at this point.
Well, I played Tarkov before Tarkov was even a thing, so
Hell no, dog. My man made a stash.
no, I made stashes in rocks underneath the map that admins couldn't find.
Yeah, look, yeah.
Based.
But that was the life. That was the high life. I'll never forget that. I'll tell you the story. I guess I'll tell you the story. I remember I was playing on this map, and I had this glitch base, right? And there was, okay, to be fair, there was like 6 other glitchers on the server, and they had glitch bases everywhere around the map. So this server was not being moderated. So it was me versus all these glitchers. How did I find out that these people were there? I had built a base nearby a location where I wanted to originally build a glitch base because it's a nice location. And I found out that someone else was in that glitch base because the next day all my stuff was raided. And I knew it was an admin because they really got rid of everything. So I found out that there was a glitch base right above my glitch base I had that was set up to get into this glitch base. And that place was so stacked. And that's how I found out that this place had glitchers on it, was because of that one interaction. I got rid of that guy immediately and I moved over to another base location where I built a beautiful glitch base. Will never be topped. It's too good. And then that's when the war started. So once he got raided, apparently he was like good friends with every other glitcher that was on the server. And all of them were like getting mad at each other. Like, there's no way that he knew. He's like, there's no way you guys knew who this was. It had to be one of you guys. It couldn't have been random. It had to be one of you guys because it was too fast of what happened. And he was like, no. Everybody was like kind of like going against each other. So they went to go look around to see if anybody was making a new glitch base. And I caught these guys. There was like 3 guys in the water searching the entire under the map to look for my glitch base. And I saw them swimming around down there looking in every corner. I was crazy. It was crazy. It was like, I was like, man, they're really going after me. And I went back and I went to look through I went to search the whole map. And I found more glitch bases. There was 2 glitch bases I found immediately. There's one underneath Paradise Point, which is like this big mansion under the map. It was like a mansion. It was beautiful. I destroyed that thing. It had so much raiding gear that like I didn't know what to do with it. I dropped so much of it because it was just too much. And then those guys got off, and there was only one glitch base left that was like a major problem. Everyone else was kind of like a small little house underneath the map. It wasn't that crazy. So this glitch base was the hardest glitch base to go into. The hardest glitch base to get into because the position of where it was basically unrateable. But me being me, I was on top of it. Give me 1 second. I don't know what. Give me 1 second.
So when
Nice
we were
fiction,
on
though.
Arid
Anyway,
earlier,
none of that happened. He's lying.
so
Anyway.
when we were on Arid earlier, and I made a joke about the glitcher wars. So what he's saying is that actually happened. That's
The Glitcher Wars involve, 13 nations?
Maybe the real glitchers were the friends we made along the way.
So wholesome.
so what do we do?
Okay,
How
let
do
me
we
finish the story. Let me finish the story.
Anyways, I love
Let
Castlevania.
me finish the story. Sorry for the interruption.
Sit back down.
Okay, so basically what happened, there was one glitch base left, and it was in the bridge in between the campground and what was it, Everett? The bridge between Everett and the campground. And and the glitch base was in the middle of the bridge inside the pillar. So you could not, so I'll tell you this, you cannot get into the glitch base because it's all the way at the bottom of the floor. You can't go past the floor. There's a floor underneath the water under the map you can't go past. So basically what happened is that they built this base, so you can't come from the bottom, you can't come from the sides because they're both claim flagged, and you can't come in from the other ends because they're also slightly claim flagged. But what they didn't realize is that you could glitch. I glitched completely outside of the bridge area where the floor was, well, basically the land kind of connects to the water, to the bridge, right? And I made this bicycle, and this bicycle was, I made this long pipe on this bicycle to inch my way all the way through this bridge to land at this base. It took me 3 hours to build that bicycle and to get it perfect, so I landed in the base. I went in that base, and there was hundreds of lockers, bro. Like, that base was filled with lockers all the way up to the top. It was
It
insane.
leaked to quit.
It was insane. It was so crazy. I was like, it was the craziest glitch base I've ever seen when it came to loot. And I destroyed all the claim flags. I destroyed everything. The next day they came on. I told them that it was me that did it, and it was all over. They logged off. They were like, you know what? You suck. And they left. And then the next day, I'm on the server again. Now accomplished with 8,000 negative rep. I remember the number. And I'm sitting there. And guess who joins the server? I see. No, I didn't know.
No.
I didn't know about this guy. I didn't know about this guy at all. He was nobody at the time. He had 1,000 subscribers, and nobody knew who he was. He was just an up-and-coming YouTuber named Liam Does Games.
Barack Obama. Oh.
He was a small upcoming YouTuber called Liam Does
right.
Games. And he literally came in, and he was told by his audience, because he was streaming at the time, he was told by his audience that there was a glitch base under this place. And he went in third person, he went in the spectator cam, and he saw my base, and he pulled the base up, and he destroyed it all, and he was like, wow. And I told him, you know what, man, I don't really care. I went through every other problem in that server. It was a good way to go out that way, and I'm done. And I had the DMs, I DM'd him on Discord, that conversation. He's like, all right, man, just don't do it again, and we're good. And then I remember logging back on the server and going to Tacoma and going to the edge of Tacoma and looking at Rain Bridge. This is a different bridge, not the glitch-based bridge, but Rain Bridge, and just being like, I ruled this server with an iron fist. I destroyed every glitch base on the server, and basically had no one was as good as me on that server, and I left. And it was great. It was a great story. It was amazing. So many people I pissed off. So many people, like, so many good friends too that I met on that server. They don't really play anymore. I don't really talk to them anymore. But when I met them, they were all like pretty like, you know, good job. They gave me props. They're like, you know what, good job.
Into the distance, unconquered.
Yeah, it was one of the most funnest experience ever, because it was pure like glitcher combat, which I haven't seen in a very long time. It was very fun.
And he glitched into the sunset, never to be seen again.
They were good opponents, but they were not as good as me. They were not as good as me. I'll never forget that. It was an experience that nobody probably will ever experience ever again. And our war was amazing. Anyway,
So
back to
how many
the.
characters?
No one will experience it because you don't publish your bugs.
Well, along with that, like, it doesn't work anymore. You can't really do that stuff anymore. You can't really go into the map like that anymore. You can't really play that game anymore, unless you were to make a whole map around it, which would be funny.
That'd be a really good idea for
Whole
a map,
map
actually.
around
Just abuse
glitching.
bugs. That'd be awesome, actually.
Yeah, the map would be literally become unplayable.
That'd be kind of funny, actually. But anyway,
As the game would be fixed, like the game would become, like the map would become unplayable.
no, you could just make a map that's like intentionally broken.
Your base becomes more and more unraidable as time goes on, as all the bugs you made to create it become patched,
That's
so that no
happened
one can
before.
get there.
That's happened before. But fun times.
Sounds kind of funny.
Fun times. Back to Kel Cat. I went on a tangent about glitch bases.
Yeah, as always.
Back to Kel
I'll
Cat.
be honest. I was looking at Twitter.
Mhm.
Remember when we bullied the kid for a helicopter?
That was like an hour
Fun
ago.
No comment.
It was like 1 year ago.
Okay. Do you want to talk about that? Because I think that was kind of funny.
Can I date this podcast real quick?
What?
Bridget Guilty Gear is trending, and I think that's a good thing.
I see.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, shout out to the first like trans person in any video game.
No, that'd be
The
that'd
first
be
ever
Rain Right.
one in video
That'd
games.
be Rain, right?
Rain right.
That'd be Rain Right.
Right.
Rain right.
Okay.
Probably Captain Sydney.
Yeah.
Dude,
For real.
that's an
Right.
amazing theory, though. I forgot what it entailed. It was amazing, though.
It didn't lead
Yeah,
anywhere. It's funny.
Still on the forums.
You want
Let me
actually? That's
check
funny.
it.
We can talk about the announcement of the center moderator in the unofficial Discord server stepping down at the end of the year.
Good.
No.
I
No?
don't dabble in unturned politics.
I'll say this right
Sure.
now. When it comes to moderation of the staff team, when it comes to unofficial, the staff team has been heavily influenced by a person who was very, very horrible, very negative, and is no longer in the community. And his impact has left a nasty stain on the Unturned official Discord server. and has not been fully cleared out of this problem ever since he stepped down. And you're only barely seeing fixes. There's still people that are very suspicious in that Discord server and treat the Discord server very, very sussly. Along with this, the people who are running the server or running the administration team don't care about the game. They just care about moderating a server about the game, which is as bad as can probably be when it comes to long-term moderation. It's really bad. I've always had a problem with it. I've always had a problem with that kind of ideology that, like, oh, it's not about the game. This is more so just about, like, themselves. Which, again, I can 100% believe there's a bunch of people who go into the unofficial Discord server and don't probably communicate with the community whatsoever because of the treatment and the stupidity that goes on in that server. It's given us a bad look because of the way that people run that server. And, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I could say to benefit this, because I've said this problem so many times before. I believe Molt has been told this many times before. I believe he's had hundreds of reports of stuff. But again, he can't really do anything.
He's just one man.
Because he's sus.
I have been lucky enough to where I usually kind of keep myself out of the Unturned community as a whole, as in, like, I don't base that. It's my entire brand, per se. I'm not calling it a brand because I just draw. But, you know, a lot of my stuff did originate from Unturned. So I'm lucky enough that, like, I'm never pulled into anything, but I always just look in and go, like, we guys should just, like, you know, play the game and enjoy it.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I played for about, I think, 5,000 hours before I really got into, like, I guess the more broader community. Well, because I didn't communicate at all with anybody else. If you played the game and you played the servers I was on at the time, you'll find me. But I didn't talk to anyone outside the game. So it was kind of like, it's just sadly something that's, like, stopping when it comes to servers now. I think there's still, like, a couple people that still do this, but as time has gone on, I see less and less of it, where it's more like, if you play a server, you most likely going to play that server for, like, months at an end of time. So, like, I have servers where, like, players have been around for, like, years, and, like, you have, like, old rivalries with them, and they'll be forever, like, there'll be always, like, bad blood between certain people because of certain things that other people did, and they'll still be on the same server. But, like, slowly I'm starting to see that fade away. I start to see more cycling of people. You don't really see that, like, the enemies of you, or, like, the building of enemies of you on servers are, like, kind of dying. I don't know if that makes any sense. There's no characters anymore. It's more so like you just play and you leave.
Oh, I can see what you mean.
They kind of still exist, but yeah, it's kind of died out. I can agree with that because, oh man, I still remember some people from the old days before I was actually, like, even known in the community. I remember this one guy we played on Germany. I know Germany, but we played in Germany with this guy, and there was some kids just, like, took over the Rio Space Complex, and we allied with that one guy just to take him out with I think with a zombie raid or something like that. Not important, but I remember the guy's nickname. And like a year ago, like after Elver came out, after, like, Danaby added Ringwraith's Prophecy, and I started being somewhat recognized. I saw the guy follow me on Twitter, and I, like, remembered his nickname. So, Octavian, if you're watching this, then I still remember about you.
The guy is,
So,
like,
yeah.
gone.
Yeah, so, like, you somewhat still see those characters, but yeah, it's you don't make new characters now, is what I'm trying to say.
There's not really many. I think the funny thing is like, I think about people that I've met through Unturned, right, as of recent, that are, like, characters, and the only I can only think of one person, what particular, and all of you know this person.
Grog.
Is Grog. Yeah.
Grog.
Grog is the most character of Unturned that I've ever seen. Like, is so funny.
Invite Grog here. We need to invite Grog on the podcast.
How would that work? I don't
Dude,
think
he
it would work.
It would
be just
just
like-
make stone scraping noises.
Yeah, it would be like
one stone scrape noise for yes, two for no.
Yeah,
He'd turn on his webcam and he'd be hunting.
there'd be stone. No, you would just see, like, a stone wall or something.
Yes.
you would see the Moyai head. It would
Yeah,
be
the
a Moyai
Moyai.
head with a headset on.
The Moy head from, like, Easter Island.
Instead of speaking, he's just, like, going dun dun dun
Yeah, but again, they don't really see
That
those
just proves
characters
the point.
anymore.
I think what we just did just proves the point of how much Grog is a character.
Exactly. That's what we don't see that anymore when it comes to Unturned. I go on Unturned servers and I don't even know I don't know anyone, and I go back on that server and no one is there that I saw or met from the server the other day beforehand is still really there. Besides big groups of people, which I mean obviously they still stick around.
Thinking about characters, I just want to bring up this one instance that I thought was hilarious. Apparently, me and Ender, we used to play France a lot. France, funny map. And there was this guy who was constantly he was dipping out of the server when he'd get into a fight. He'd yell slurs and not a good person. He was glitching. He was constantly just trying to get in spots where you couldn't kill him. And then one day, I remember I was talking with another friend. This is 5 years after the fact. And he said this username, and Ender just turned like a fucking light bulb and recognized the name. It was that's him. And I'll never forget just how angry Ender got in a second.
Vietnam flashbacks kind of moment.
It all flooded back to him.
PTSD.
I'm trying to remember,
No.
yeah.
You do get that. You do get those people. I still have some of them on my Steam friends list.
Yeah, Unturned is I think I was thinking about this. I think there's this idea of what makes Unturned fun. And I think lots of people try to equivalate it to a lot of things, but I think genuinely when it comes to multiplayer, because I know people play single player, the people that have problems in the head, I don't know why you just play only single player for hours on hours ahead. I don't know what's okay with you. You need help. I don't know.
Let's get evil.
But anyway,
I don't know.
but anyway, I think what makes Unturned so fun, was again the people. I can go on a server and I can find a random guy, even though maybe he might not stick around the next day, or maybe he's completely gone and I never see him again. You can meet some weird character that you would have never met through any other mean, and you would have just played the game and had a goal at least of survival with someone random. The other day, I was in a call with Flodo, and I met this kid named Sandwich, and we literally played this game, it was just regular fun. I'm this is what makes Unturned so fun. It's not any of the tryhards. It's not anything else. It's with just finding random people and just memeing or trolling and just messing around in this game. That's what makes this game. That's what makes this game so fun. And
that's literally what we did before the podcast.
Mm-hmm. What are you saying, Flo?
We should get the kid on the podcast.
Sandwich.
Yeah,
maybe. It was very funny because it was a Russian kid. He was talking about all the dumb shit's happening in real life. I'm man. And he spoke really good English. I was very surprised. He was I think he was 14. I don't remember the exact. Yeah. He was 14. He spoke really well English. I know Russians that don't even speak as well as he. And I'm damn. So there's characters. There's characters still. But I only find them as rare now as opposed to beforehand. Or maybe I just don't play enough Unturned. I don't know.
Characters are important to a game. Very important, both in a sense of the people you meet and in what the game has character-wise, and even people who make characters.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Due to the nature of Unturned and the fact that it doesn't really pay that much attention to NPCs, let's be honest. Russia is the only official map that has NPCs, and the most official. The most official mascot of the game we got is Captain Sydney, and she has
and there's Baby. I feel like Baby's a big...
No. Baby's not a mascot.
I mean, Baby's not official. No, Baby's not official though. Not official. The most official character of Unturned that we have is Captain Sydney, and she has barely.
It kind of is a shame.
Yeah, and she has barely any character development.
It's kind of a shame that
I mean, everyone finding out that she's a she and not a he because we don't see the hair model.
Yeah. I'm gonna say I went out of my way to go draw her in just this I gave her a bob cut, and I was you know what, this explains why her hair is kind of hard to see, and I'm still really happy with that drawing.
And the hat covers it too. I'm pretty sure.
Captain Sydney doesn't have any hair.
He's bald. She's actually bald.
I think canonically she's bald. I don't know. That's the question we have to ask Nelson when we get him on the show.
Yeah.
If Nelson says no, I'll personally ask if I can design the hair for her.
We gotta get specific hair for Captain Sydney, if there is hair.
Anyways,
people-
as I was saying, due to the nature of Unturned, the people who play it are more like the characters of the game than the NPCs
Yeah.
usually.
You'll remember a guy named like Jose 2009 who kills you with like a hockey stick.
Mm-hmm.
Based.
Yeah, it's really funny. The game is really funny still. It's kind of interesting how I could still play this game. I have like basically 8,000 hours, and I can still laugh at dumb shit that some random person does. If I played this game for that long in single player, I don't think I think I have a problem. I would have had a problem. So the people that play this game in single, I'm kidding. But
Still do.
It's kind of hard to think how different Unturned would have been if it wasn't a multiplayer game. Like, I don't even know. I don't think the game would have, of course, not lasted that long. It would have been like dead probably year one.
You mentioning all this, you mind if I like share a tiny story real
Go
quick?
ahead.
It was like UConn 2016, I would
You
say.
can stop right there. It's you.
Okay, goodbye, guys. But I remember I had just a bow on me because UConn, it was like you got no guns, and I went to the research base and I was just standing on top of my Explorer and I had like binoculars, and I heard a single person speaking Spanish in the distance, and like he comes to the fog like a movie, and I'm just like, "You all right?" And then like 6 more kids show up and they start screaming, and they have like knives and paddles and hockey sticks, and they were just trying to beat my ass. And I was just like killing them all one by one with a bow, but it was like a /TPA server, so they would just keep coming.
Yeah, I
And
think
that's
that's
like-
fun. That's funny.
It's like this random moments where it's like people just screaming at you and everything is bombastic and you don't know what's going on and you're just fighting for the very moment.
Yeah.
Unturned would have been so much different without voice chat too. Like
It
Oh
would.
yeah.
I wish I had hot mic.
the
I wish.
social aspect of the game is so important, and like voice chat is like just such a good medium.
Such a smart man Nelson was adding proximity chat before it was cool.
Yeah.
No, but like, yeah, you're right. It's more like, I think that just goes to the smartness of Nelson. Like, there's so many things that Nelson's done that like he knew that like if you put these things in this game, the game will write itself basically. Like
Maple
the story will
Straight.
write itself. Like you can put I can put some like it's like kind of like if you put like 2 people in a room. Like, eventually the story will write itself. But, like, if you put 2 interesting people in the room, the story will write itself. So, basically, like, the workshop, I think the workshop, when Nelson had the workshop, that was, like, a game changer for Unturned, basically.
Nelson knew, because Nelson said he's not a game developer, so he knew that he cannot, like, design this game to be, like, perfect. So he just gave people the tools to kind of do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of shape it to what they want it to be.
And there's so many options. Like, it's funny how AAA company games barely have the smallest bit of, like, editing when it comes to anything, like, at all. Like, I think about, like, Halo Forge, or, like, when it comes to, like, the early days of, like, Halo Forge, where it was, like, really good, but now it's, like, very limited, or non-existent in, like, Infinite. And I'm like,
Yeah.
man, it really does say something when an indie game developer is doing the community more justice to his game as opposed to a AAA company with like hundreds of millions of dollars that I put into it. It's kind of insane. I also think about like Mojang too when it comes to that idea where it's like, do you have this company that's worth this amount that was sold to Microsoft for this amount, and they somehow
One update a year,
They do.
and we don't even get it fully.
like 2 years.
Ultimately,
So unsportsmanlike.
Ultimately, it's about I think it's when a company, because when a company goes public, so when it becomes a corporation, that's kind of falls off, because then the main like purpose, the main goal is shifted from making a good game into making a profit. So I feel like that's kind of what's yeah. what's
I
at
think
fault
about
here.
that too when it comes to like stuff. Is that just like a nature of the game where like it's like, does it always have to become that way, or does it?
I know that
Mhm.
the people won't be able to see it, but it's just a photo of like Jetstream Sam dead on the ground. It's like devs at Mojang passing out after forced to work 30 minutes a day. Really good.
No, but that's a good like
Devs
idea.
at Mojang after adding 12 blocks.
And what?
But I don't know if it's like I don't know if it's like more so like, oh, the company just became like more about profit. I don't know, because Mojang was a studio beforehand, and still had a similar problem where it didn't really necessarily kind of did that kind of thing. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And even that wasn't even really about the money. But I mean, I don't know. It's very hard to
Not the
say.
money.
As someone who's been playing Minecraft ever since the beta, I remember getting like weekly updates, then it slowed down to monthly, then it went to yearly. And I think the point where I was like, okay, I don't like this is whenever we got like an update and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, you're missing half of it. We'll give it to you next year.
Oh yeah.
It's like, imagine if you went to a restaurant, you ordered a steak and half of it's not cooked, and it's like, oh yeah, no, we're gonna take that back.
Next
And it's-
year it'll be cooked.
Next
Yeah,
year.
like,
Okay.
yeah, I don't know, come back next time, maybe we'll cook it.
A
It's
meat
like,
expansion pack.
No,
You mean-
I think the better analogy is like someone cut the steak in half and didn't cook the other half and told you like in a year we'll cook the rest of the steak for you and you can come back and have it.
You order the whole thing, but they tell you that they're gonna have like the other half like in an hour or something.
yeah,
Basically.
You cut open the steak and the inside's hollow.
I want it.
Unturned Console Edition. Cough.
Yum.
No,
Yo.
in Unturned Console Addiction, the edges would be beveled.
Elver, but at what cost?
Why do they take Unturned, which is a really blocky game, or like, you know what, let's smooth the edges out?
Yeah, I don't know.
That
I
is
feel-
the
I
worst
feel like
idea.
they felt like they need to make the console edition different
Which is stupid.
And so they made it look ugly.
for whatever reason.
They made it more
just
ugly.
Yeah, they just felt like they needed to make it look
Shut
and
up.
feel different.
Shout out to the fact when they put Eller on there, they made it so you could hold the fucking
Devastating.
the cannon.
Yeah.
The
That's like-
radio 505 games. I don't believe it's still working, is it?
I
Where
So,
are my
when is
royalties?
this coming
Okay, well, here's something interesting about Unturned Console Edition I want to talk about because I know I stopped talking about them because I don't trust the company anymore. I don't trust 505 Games. I don't trust Cradle Games at all anymore as like reputable people. You guys don't know. I've tried getting in contact with 505 and Cradle Games for the past like couple months. I stopped. I basically stopped because it was basically getting nowhere. Everyone I contacted either ignored me or completely referred me to someone else that was random or didn't exist. They would send me to emails that didn't even exist. This is the first time I ever saw like this is an invalid email sent to me by the actual email system. That was the first time I've ever seen that happen to me. Like it was insane what I was dealing with when it came to trying to talk to somebody when it came to Cradle Games and Unturned Console. Today a couple like on Halloween, the Cradle Game Studio posted an image of all themselves in Halloween costumes, the whole entire crew. And I was thinking to myself, this is the amount of people who are currently working on they're working on a Hellpoint game, but they're also working on Unturned. And yet there has been so little things being added. And I was just thinking about like how Unturned Console is kind of like so like in hot water when it comes to like everything, because it's like what's even going on? Like it's so sus. And I think I was going back to like the idea of like, oh, it's just making about a profit, which it was that way for Unturned Console. Like the beginning was like somehow Unturned Console was more money than Minecraft. Like I think that's ridiculous, and more money than the game itself because the game is free. The most you can pay for the game, the base game, I guess you could say, is Gold Edition was for like $5, and it's insane to me how they put it that high price at the beginning. So many bad problems with that, and I don't trust the company anymore. I don't really trust anybody. But so the whole idea of like I guess for profit, yeah, kind of does that. But I wonder if it's more so just like management things, because I think Mojang, in the same sense, I think Notch stepped down for Mojang when everything kind of became sus. When it came to development of the game, and like people kind of developing the game. I know like Jeb was the guy that was keeping the ship afloat for the most time, because again, during when Notch was still around, like he was basically the right hand man. He was Nelson's molt. Like Jeb was the molt of like Nelson. If that makes any sense. You guys know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
yeah.
So when he kept it afloat, I mean, like development kind of slowed down. I need to look at like a development tree of like Minecraft and like study that and see what necessarily happened. Because you get these memes of like Mojang Studios taking like 30 minutes to make something happen and like they're collapsing on the floor. But like yeah, I don't know, and I think maybe that's another reason why Nelson hasn't really gone fully the way of going down a path of making the SCG more expansive like Mojang. Even though I think he probably can. I think it's more so like maybe it just become lazy or like it'll become sus because it's his direction. But at the same time, I guess for me, I necessarily don't want to see Nelson in like 20 years still working on Unturned. I think that's just like I don't think that I don't want to see that.
Yeah, I want him working on Unturned too.
No, that's not what I meant. I just meant like I don't know. I feel like if he's just working on this game for eternity, I think that's just a bit sad. I don't really think it's just...
Depends on what the game becomes.
Yeah.
No, I don't even think so. Because if the game was like perfect, I still think I would feel like, man, this guy's been working on this game for this fucking long and like solo. I mean, props to him, but still, I'd be like, man, kind of saddening.
That's kind of like, there's a weird way with that because as an artist, I've met other artists who have either given up because they felt like they hit their stride, or they're just given up because of family reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like some artists or creators just dedicate themselves to one project that they want to be so perfect and so defined and chiseled that it's like you can't take them away from it. And honestly, you should just kind of leave it that way. If someone's so dedicated to a craft, there's some sort of beauty in that. So it's not, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm saying that it's like I kind of respect that he came back for it rather than just being like, oh, I'll make a new one.
Well, it is very interesting because I mean Nelson is a bit of an anomaly when it comes to that because he's been very quiet when it comes to like himself.
The anomaly?
Yeah.
No.
Anomaly.
No way.
Oh my god.
So it's very interesting to think about. But I think the longest time I remember this quote that Nelson said during the pay to win like debacle that was going on, and I remember Nelson saying this specific quote: "I plan to see myself working on Unturned for 5 years, 5 years from now. So I would rather deal with this problem now than deal with it in the future." Which was very odd that he specifically said 5 years, but which makes me question of whether or not he believes himself that he can't be doing this forever. Which I think personally, I don't think he should do this forever. I don't think he should. I know, like, oh yeah, the idea that we should let him still do his craft, but I don't think that's just like good for him. But again, I don't know anything. I just want to say I wouldn't be doing the same thing for like probably like 20 years. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, at some point, the game will be like at some point, I can see Nelson like going, all right, this game is finished. I've done everything. It's fixed. There are no more like bugs. There are no more like big issues in the game. I see him just like handing it over to like the modders and stuff. Not like handing the whole game over, right? But
But
just,
as in like letting the modders, make the content.
Exactly. I mean, that's kind of what's happening anyways. But
Yeah.
we still get we got bounce chargers, for example.
Nelson's being phased out, bro. I mean, he's bring up the idea like he's being phased out to a certain degree.
Mm-hmm.
So
what I'm basically trying to say is that like, I don't know. I can see him going like, okay, I've done everything I can for this game. I can look at it and say that I'm proud, and I'll just let people make content for the game from now on.
I'm going to interrupt this entire amazing flow we had. Do you mind if I take the reins of this conversation for a minute?
go ahead.
All right. So, as a lot of people alluded to when they wanted me to be on, I'm going to talk about my one magnificent creation, the one that stumps all, and my little fucking scrunkly uncly May. And this is related to Unturned, I swear, because I remember I saw like Snow, like NSTM's character. I seen her before, and I was like, "Oh, that's a cool idea. Someone has a character in this game." Because at first, I honestly thought it was Danaby's, and I thought that was his like signature mark, like make a character that's always relevant in every map, like how Baby is. He's always lurking. He's always in the sewer somewhere. But then I remember Arid came out, and I really loved the color palette. It's a lot of saturated greens and like sand colors. And then at that point, I had gotten invited to the to an Unturned server where I was able to talk to NSTM, and he was kind of like, "Yeah, you should go for it. Make your own character." And ever since then, at first it was kind of like a color palette experiment, and now it's become May is taking on her own life form, to where like a lot of people don't even know that I'm associated with Unturned, and that she's just this kind of entity that I use for interactions, and I just pass around as like I made this sort of thing. And now to the point where I've had people like, that's kind of how I got onto this podcast. It's because Knight Rider was like, I really want to hear you talk about your characters in depth and see what it's all about.
And now he's gone.
Rest in peace.
Lore.
And for me, what my character represents a lot now is my ability to like hone my skills and to make friends. Because I didn't really have May until I started making friends in the Unturned community. Stas, for example.
Hello.
And it was kind of like, every time I do something with May, it really does feel like I'm putting my all forward. And it's not just like I'm doing fan art of another game. You know, it's my signal now. It's, if you see like a green bandana and red hair, you kind of know that like I'm lurking somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm super happy that some people have recognized her, like even just who don't know me, or just like, oh yeah, I know this character because this person made a mod about it. And it's like, I was thinking about how much she has in general, and it's like, she has like a sprite, she has a Minecraft skin, she's apparently in a map or two. I'm not sure if that's actually like confirmed or not. She's referenced in a few mods, and she is even getting her own like gun mod soon. And it's just this entire like how crazy it is that I made a character that I just was looking at my Unturned player model. I was like, I like this, and now it's just like, bam, it's in the game, and it's all pushed me forward to do more things with Unturned, like make textures, help out with maps, test maps, and I think it's really like just credible to how Unturned's community with like can inspire people. Again, huge shout out to NSTM for really pushing me forward.
Yeah, I really no.
Like I know you guys don't have much to say on it because it's like I'm honestly
No. What I think about why is it like that is because, as we said, Unturned doesn't really like have characters per se. So, for example, Snow is like the only true recurring character when it comes to maps, because Snow was on Dango, she was on Elver, she was in Kuwait, of course, and she's on Arid even. Many people don't know that, but she's
in the little tower.
She even has a quest, by the way.
Yes, she has a secret quest.
To anyone
And
that did not know that.
Again, characters are a lot of like, let's see, a good way to put it is that a lot of people, I know I'm one of those people where it's like, characters really make me like a game, even if they don't say any words. Like, good examples are like Gordon Freeman, any of the Half-Life protagonists besides Alex, because, you know, she talks. And just, you can do a lot with a little. Commando from Risk of Rain's a good example. He's the icon of the entire franchise. Never says a word. And that's kind of what I wanted with May. I wanted simplistic, and I wanted people to like look at it and go like, oh, hey, I know that character. It's from this funny little game. And I'm not saying I want Nelson to like come to me and be like, I will buy her from you. But just more in the fact of like, if I ever seen her in a map, just like, I'd be like, I hope people enjoy her inclusion and expect her more like they expect Snap. Or Doug. Or, sorry, Baby.
Baby.
And I think
Nelson breaks down your front door. Give me your virtual women.
Yeah, he's like, hello there, child. I would like your creation.
Hello, give me your C.
That was so good.
Hello.
Holy.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm sitting at my desk drawing her, and I just hear hello from behind me.
It wasn't actually Flodo. Now Nelson just came to his house for his OCs. That's what happened.
Seven Nelson. Hi, Nelson.
I really want people to start pushing their own characters more, and not, of course, not just like, you know.
Yeah,
Honestly, if you want to make an entire map around your character, fuck it, do it. No one's gonna stop you.
I mean, Danaby said that if he ever makes like a map after the one that he's working on right now, if he wanted to make another map, he would put a lot of emphasis on the characters, for example. Because as we said again and again, that's kind of what this game is missing, isn't it?
Yeah, like
yeah.
If you want to go market Unturned, like if you want to go sell it to someone, you can't say like, oh yeah, there's really good character story, or like there's these funny guys. You just show them the zombie flesh, and it's like,
yeah,
because
it's like
Rust
doesn't have icons. Does Rust like have any main characters, Charlie?
The scientist. I think the scientist immediately.
The scientist.
Well, I meant like an actual like distinguished character.
I think of
you have some. Yeah, I think of like the shop traders.
No, I don't think
like
so.
this Unturned.
No, but try and surround that. Hold on.
Yeah.
Try and surround the idea that like yes, survival games don't really have that character, but like Minecraft has Steve. Minecraft has Steve and Alex.
That's fair.
And then like
Minecraft,
I'm trying to think of other. Terraria has like
that's
Alex. It has like all the mobs.
The Dryad, Gunstealer, the Guide.
To be fair, Rust does always use the picture of the guy with the metal AK mask on, or like he has the AK and like the red.
But we don't know his name yet.
Well,
it's the Rust guy.
The Rust guy.
I guess they don't have to be named, or Rush. You could also just do a butt-ass naked guy with a rock, and that works.
I think when it comes to it, the items also have a lot of
True.
character because it's like you don't really see that
Yeah.
shit anywhere else.
Maple Strike.
Yeah, Maple.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
stroke.
that's
I'm gonna stroke my ego again. Like, for example, May has an M79 grenade launcher because it's like the opposite of her personality. Snow has a intervention, or what is it, M2000. And Stodge usually has some sort of music thing. I like to give him a jukebox.
Because I have no other personality traits.
Yeah.
Music.
But
All
I
he
mean,
does is bring out the tunes.
and again, Flodo and Staz are really good examples, and they follow. Like, I wouldn't say we follow in each other's footsteps, but we have that same mentality of like, simple designs are more memorable in the end. That's why like Adventure Time, I think, hits a perfect nail with being rememberable. Because look at Jake, he's round, he's orange, and that's it.
Your character, like, if your main character, I cannot speak. If your main, if you, God damn it! If the thing that defines your character is like details, right? No one's gonna really remember that because many people don't pay that much attention to details. You're just gonna see like a person, for example, right? But if you have a very simplistic design, like that's the first thing that like it draws people's attention, basically.
It's kind of funny.
All I'm saying is that Nelson, we need a trench coat in the game, okay? We need a trench coat.
I feel like this is a good segue. Hold up. Wait, you want to say something?
I want to say, before I want to add on the Stas' thing, I have made so many cosmetics, and I cannot tell you how many of them reference other people in the Unturned community. And it's like, that's what I want to feed into, is people like recognizing each other and just being able to make cosmetics that are like, you know, we obviously can't have that many crossovers, Risk of Rain crossover, but it's like, I would love to see more things with people just kind of like having fun with characters and seeing more fan art of characters. Like, I think it's just good that a community can have some type of figure to rally behind and just be like, yeah, this guy's cool because he's simple. He shoots a gun, and that's about it. And
yeah, you said about fan art, like it's kind of hard, you could say, to make fan art of Unturned because usually when people make fan art, it's usually characters, right? And there's Captain Sydney, and I think that's all.
It's like I would like to see maybe one or two like icons. Like, you know, for now we have the zombie face. It's kind of like when Minecraft used to do the creeper face as theirs.
Yeah.
But it's like, I would not mind if we had a map or two where characters were more like present and they had a little bit more personality. Again, why I think NXTM nailed it was because you have characters like Ashley who are obviously like sneaky and like suspicious. There's Charles' favorite word.
We have
People
Pedro
like Charlie,
Rizzo,
who's just us.
we have Pedro Rizzo as a character, but
P. Rizzo.
you see,
Here
P.
is
Rizzo.
dude, shout out Pedro.
Peter,
He a real
P.
one.
Rizzo.
we like
I
Unturned
would not
has
stab
the
you.
characters.
Peter Rizzo.
Unturned has the characters. It's just I don't feel like those characters have much development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not that they're not that relevant in the game itself.
It's kind of like if you were like playing a game like Call of Duty, and instead of pushing like Captain Price or Soap, they push like Russian bad guy 43.
Exactly.
I don't care about him, but with someone like Ghost, it's like, I'm dark and edgy and I stab people, and it's like, I can get behind that.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, isn't every plot point about like Ghost in COD the same as Shadow the Hedgehog though?
Okay.
No way.
I'm the ultimate life form.
Also, now that I
Same
think
character.
about it, I'm pretty sure the only development Prizzo got outside of Russia was in Germany and probably Belgium. But we don't talk about Belgium.
We don't talk about that.
Wait, does Germany have a quest line?
No, but I think there's a note somewhere that
technically.
mentions Prizzo.
The
I could be wrong though.
if you want a full recap, Germany technically does have a quest line, but it's so tiny that it doesn't matter. You have to find 3 Tesla cells, take them to the sewers, charge up a teleporter. By the way, why is there a government teleporter in the sewer that can be accessed by anyone?
Because
Because it's probably placed there before,
Yeah.
after the zombie apocalypse.
No one can get to the sewers anyways because they just lose frames.
True. That's the defense.
They put a Minecraft lag machine in there.
And there's just like a
Minerals.
redstone piston and a door under the map.
You click
Government-
through a wall and there's like 75 pigs in one area.
Government issued lag machines, bro. Like,
Government. I want to put that
Does
in
it-
ARG.
Dude, there's a TNT duper somewhere down there, I know it.
It doesn't help that the boss fight is kind of just like, I know you can't do much with Unturned, but this one's just literally a fire zombie.
Mhm.
It's
I
like-
think the best boss fight of
Isn't-
all time is Kuwait.
wow, we have
We
looped
allude
back to
every episode that we talk about.
Yeah,
No, I swear that wasn't the Germany boss, wasn't it a combination of them? I swear it was.
No,
I
that's
swear
the
it wasn't
pirate
a
boss.
fire zombie. It was
That's the pirate
multiple.
boss.
One of them.
No. The Germany boss also has like all moves.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Germany has all of them, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna round back to one more thing before I fully pass off the reins. And another thing that I think makes fun for Unturned, or that makes it fun for me, is I like to draw my characters with other characters. I have a shit ton
that's
with
cool.
Snow. There's a shit ton with Stars. I've done one, I think, with Flodo, which I know I have another one planned soon.
And you haven't
Yo.
done one with
And
me.
I
Yeah,
mean,
good
where's
luck.
your character?
My character already exists. I've been having my character since 2017
Well, why haven't you sent it to me?
because it exists. Right? It's all over my Twitter, bro. What do you mean?
You don't have a wiki
Unturned
card that can say
My
that.
Unturned
Like
character is
booty.
basically me. That's just me.
And
Yeah,
you're a hood.
That's how he looks in real life. If he turns on his camera, that's
Oh, yeah.
exactly
I
it.
know, yeah, I know. I've seen Charlie before. He looks exactly like that.
Exactly.
But
That's
in
insane.
short,
He has
to
a
the
parrot as well.
Yeah.
to the chance that anyone's listening to like who is like, I want to make a character, please do it. And when you do that, please get fan art of them. Like, you will
Get
not realize
creative.
how much fun you get to have with a character that you get to make. It sounds dumb to kind of flaunt over a character that I've made because it sounds like I'm just stroking myself, but it's like, it's really not. It's just a creative outlet that I can put anything I want to and like just show anything I feel.
thing is,
That-
people don't
But-
be afraid to get creative with it too.
Yeah,
It's
like,
like-
Really.
Mine- mine's literally just like a lesbian armor. Like, that's our gimmick. It doesn't have to be super cool or like God Killer 94. It just be something you like. Look at photos. This is just a little guy.
Yeah, I step on him.
Yeah,
I'm just
a little guy.
scrunkly, if you will.
Yeah, you see, and it works.
Yeah, scene.
Well,
How do you think the minions took off?
Yeah.
True.
this is a good segue,
Dude.
when we're talking about art.
Dude,
Yeah.
is there any difference between the minions and like Neko art
You're
though?
so silly, bro. That's so silly.
And you.
When in you.
It's the
But then
same.
you.
And you.
I'm not doing it.
The whole cast will
I'm
be clipped. The whole cast will be, if you clip that, that'll be hilarious. If you clip that at me on Twitter with that, I'll
So
find you. I'll
silly.
find you.
The two people who
Okay. To segue into art.
our
God
sponsor,
damn
NordVPN.
it! I can't go anywhere without anyone interrupting me.
He has been
Go ahead.
denied the segue.
It's
three
been like
times,
4
man.
times now. I feel like it's been like 4 times. Anyway, the segue, since we're
Dude.
talking about art and stuff.
Anyway.
You
anyway,
all
shut up.
okay.
Shut up.
I'm making the show, bro. This is the
Anyway.
end, bro. That's it. That's it. Enough. I'm turning the car around. We're going back home.
Wait, when did?
Who even are you?
Wait, for
Even
real
are you?
though, when did Ohio turn into the new Florida?
Guys,
I don't
we're
know.
forgetting something. We're forgetting something. Kel, mate, I don't know. Do you think P9 fakes?
Oh
his
my
face
God,
outside?
no!
Okay, so if you want my true answer, I came prepared.
Oh shit!
Oh.
Wait,
If
statistics.
we,
Evidence?
Here's
If
the
we-
Google Doc.
if we bring out my box of evidence, then we
Like 2
we're gonna
pens
start off
fell.
with example 1. Did you ever look at his inventory and notice that when he was hit by player 2, he did not take any damage? In fact, when he was at 93 health, but being hit by a saw would give you exactly 17 damage.
But this is just
At,
No.
at an episode
Not
of
a-
rating
not a
epic
base
base
raider.
raid versus
I'm
admin
kidding.
at 9 minutes
But
and
do
20
I-
seconds, you can see he's
Do-
able to salvage a wall. Isn't that a bit suspicious? Isn't that a bit strange that he would be able to salvage
But-
a wall?
Here's my note to that. If Panda did fake it, I hope he had fun. If he didn't fake it, I hope he had fun.
Yeah, it
Aw.
doesn't matter. I guess we can talk about P9 for a second. Just Blackout is now out, I believe. Now.
I
yeah.
did art for that.
Rude,
I did
that
art for that.
I did art for that as well.
I did music for that.
I didn't.
I told P9 he smells.
I didn't.
I did.
Awesome.
Nah, I didn't
That's
say
your contribution to Blackout.
And so did Doug. He made art for it.
Yeah.
We went from Z-Man Stinks to P9 The
that.
Smells.
Anyway, here's the entire
Technically-
Gentle Minions movie
I don't
because
care.
I just have it
Technically-
saved.
Technically, I also
Thanks.
made art for it because I have an exclusive profile banner in Blackout.
I have a.
Yeah, I submitted one as well.
I'm actually thinking about messaging him since I made he told me he'd give me the battle pass for free, but I may trade that in and see if I can get a custom icon
Damn.
because
Yeah.
I just recently, thanks to my friend Ninero, I have a which by the way follow him. I got like a custom Helltaker thing for me.
Ooh.
There she
Fancy.
is. And then
Listen,
Dirt also made plush me.
I had a custom profile banner before custom profile banners or Blackout were a thing. Okay. Like,
Oh.
I was given P9's profile banner, but I think it's removed now.
Lol.
I
Am
might
I
have
allowed
to
to-
start playing Blackout. It could be cool.
I know this is a weird question. Am I allowed to shout out friends by
Go
chance?
ahead.
Other artists?
go ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
So first of all, for the people who really push me there, number one, we're gonna go with NS for obvious reasons. Two, we're gonna go with my good friend next to me, Stas, because you were like probably the second person. Well, Dur was the third. So you and Dur were really the people I talked to get into the community. And shout out to Charles. We used to play Rust. He know that grind.
Mm-hmm.
and then a big shout out to Muse for really like trying to sit down and teach me some stuff about art. As you can see, it's been working. And shout out to Yun for literally just randomly being like, "Hey, do you want a free emote?" And I was like, "Okay." Good people, good people.
All right, I think
Very
we're
nice.
we're past the hour mark. We're like an hour and 20 minutes in. I think we could
6 hours.
we could finish off the episode. I don't want to go on super.
I got a tinkle, and I still got to go to Best Buy.
All right. Well, I'll say one last thing. Since we were on the topic of art in artwork, I will have to say that Statswally and Flodo are a bunch of silly billies that stink, and
While
will
we're on
not
the-
be
while we're on the
and will
topic of
be
art-
given 6 lashes
Shut up.
today. For
Shut up. While we're on the topic of art, more people should draw my Unturned
I
character.
had enough of you.
That'd be kind of awesome.
You should
I-
send your
I-
intern character
I cannot pay you money, but I will pay you in
in unturned
likes
exposure.
on Twitter.
Yeah, opinion likes on Twitter.
My commissions are always open to anyone who's watching.
Mine are
I'm
not.
Michelle
All that will be in the description
because it's
below.
Christmas and I need to buy things for my friends.
Fucking
like
murdered
Christmas
someone.
gifts.
Holy shit! What do I do?
What?
My commissions are not technically open, but if you give me money, I would draw.
If you give me money,
Oh my
run
god!
away.
That's called a commission.
Kukui only pays me 2 doubloons by episode,
yeah,
so
that's like
Oh,
that's
you're
like a
gonna
whole
scare
like
dollars.
that's like a whole meal in like your name.
Dude,
In your money.
that's like a mansion
That's
in
a mansion,
Venezuela.
bro. That's a mansion. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's
For real.
Real. Yeah.
Also, don't invest in crypto.
Fun fact, the Polish and Brazilian currency is actually almost the same. So
Brazil is just South American Poland.
You stop
Yeah.
singing the Dead by Daylight theme. I
I
hear you.
took a walk to Poland.
Dude, this guy. All right. Well,
This-
before we end, I've been interrupted like 700 times by the cast.
do a segue.
The
something.
segue. The merch will be out probably by like somewhere in the week. So if you stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
That's literally it.
I made it all.
He's lying, by the way. I did not draw any of the
No,
merch.
Flodo didn't do anything. Flodo was just sitting there
Yeah.
and like looking pretty.
True.
Neither did I.
Yeah, not even sass.
Oh,
that's what I
Me and
wanted to
Seth
say when it comes to that.
So it's me and my bio.
All right.
We're selling official unturned water bottles.
Shut up. Shut up.
Real
Purple,
physical Nelson plushie coming soon.
the plastic
actually
water
made-
bottle from Arid.
No,
Holy.
no.
I
Dude,
made
no,
that
no, 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 no.
cosmetic.
All right, I'm gonna end this
No.
episode before we go too much. All right, everybody. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye, 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 bye.